Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is May 4th. May the 4th be with you. Taking a look here at the infrared/visible satellite imagery. You can see the storm system off the coastline here, forming this negatively tilted trough back up over the Pacific Northwest. It's going to allow for some rainfall to get east of the Cascades here, kind of skipping the rain shadow effect. I'll show you more on that here in a moment. And you can see the nice cloud shield across the region, lots of cold air spilling into southern Oregon and California. And we got another system that'll be coming our way, but then we've got a big ridge. Looks like it's going to start building here along the west coast of North America. We're going to dive into some of those details as we go through the video this morning. Taking a look at the precipitation, got the Doppler radars overlaid here as well. And you can see some light precipitation out here. Better amounts across California. You can even see some narrow cold frontal rain bands moving across the region. But this is going to slowly trek here across the west coast and spin some precipitation as we go through today and tomorrow back up into some places that need it, like eastern Washington. They can always use it at this time of year. It'll help the farmers out. Now, taking a look at Pendleton, Oregon, National Weather Service, check it out. You're talking about some 4 to 10 inch totals here, mainly above 4,000 feet here. And so be careful for those winter driving conditions. This was updated this morning at 5:15 a.m. And again, the winter weather advisory goes all the way through Sunday night, 11 p.m. Taking a look at Spokane, they're bringing some attention here to some brisk westerly winds as we go through Monday and Tuesday, but we're not going to have those westerly winds today and tomorrow. I'll show you more on that here in a moment, but just a heads up for that. It'll be good for wind power generation out there as well, the big wind farms. Now taking a look at spring snow and wind here for the Idaho Panhandle and western Montana. Heavier mountain snow here, mainly 2 to 4 inches above 5,000 feet here. And you can see Sunday night through Tuesday, light snow is possible in the valley. Some brief gusty westerly winds are also going to arrive here as well. Now, taking a look at thunderstorm potential today, mainly down across southwest Oregon. We're looking at a thunderstorm threat across BC or Washington or eastern Oregon, Idaho, or Montana for today. And if we see the upper levels of the atmosphere, this is at 18,000 feet, 500 millibars. There goes that storm system here. And again, we're going to have this wraparound moisture that's going to come back in here. It's going to bring some precipitation, kind of bypassing that rain shadow effect. And if we look off into the future a little bit more through next week, we still have some of that troughing we're going to be dealing with as we go through the day Tuesday. But then check it out. Look at this ridge just building up and across the areas. Could bring some very warm conditions here to the Pacific Northwest, depending on the exact setup of where this ridge is going to locate as we go on in through the end of the week coming up. This is about Thursday night shown right there. So taking a look at precipitation, 6-hour precipitation to be exact, and got mean sea level pressure on here as well. And you can see as we go through the day tomorrow, you can see some of that precipitation rotating back up and around eastern Washington. And then that next system comes in right on the heels of that one as well. It's going to keep some convergent zone activity, some showers going through in the morning Tuesday. Start to dry out by Tuesday night a bit here. One more maybe weak impulse kind of moving in through here as we go through Wednesday possibly. But then we're really going to build this ridge, and you can see we start to dry out as we go towards the end of next week. Now, taking a look at the winds at 850 millibars or 5,000 feet, you kind of see this rotation around the low pressure system here. You notice the winds are out of the east here, and they're offshore on the backside of this low, this negatively tilted trough. And that's going to allow for some of this moisture from this upper level low to bring some precip. We're kind of bypassing that rain shadow effect that the Cascades normally has on the eastern portions of Washington and Oregon, at least for a time. And then as we go on in through Sunday and Monday, you kind of see the westerly winds kind of return, and we get back to normal here as we go towards the next system on into early next week, rolling through here. And then we start to build the ridge out here across the Pacific Ocean that's going to allow us to warm up. Now, taking a look one more time at the upper level heights, again, you can kind of see this is at 500 millibars. The winds are going to be coming out of the southeast and the east as we go through the day Sunday. Then one more system there, and then check out that ridge. I just want to kind of drive home that point. We are likely to warm up considerably so as we go on in through next week. So taking a look at the daily 2-meter max temperatures. So check this out. We have some offshore flow here. So some areas are not going to be that cool today. And on the north side of that low, maybe we'll even get a sunbreak or just some high filtered sunshine for some areas as we go through the day today. There's tomorrow, and then we're still dealing with this system moving across the area. There's Monday, Tuesday. We're going to be dealing with that next trough rolling through here as well. And then we start the warm up. Check it out by the time we get towards Wednesday. Thursday, Friday. Look at some of these temperatures. You're talking about 80s in the Willamette Valley, maybe into western Washington. Look at southwest BC, way back into the Fraser River Valley here, 78, 78 into the Okanagan River Valley, eastern Washington into the low 80s. Eastern Oregon warming up quite nicely as well. Look, some of the valleys out there into British Columbia, Alberta, Idaho, and Montana as well. And then we go into Saturday, maybe a very nice warm weekend coming up here. This would be very glorious. I mean, look at this, upper 80s perhaps for some of eastern Washington. And then it continues to be, some above average temperatures here as we go on through the extended. We'll be breaking that down day by day, of course. Here's Seattle. You can see dealing with the troughing here for the next few days. The red line is the average temperature for this time of year. And by the time you get in towards Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, look at this. We might have this long string of some very nice weather coming in here. These are above average for this time of year, no doubt. And this is the blue line, the average lows for this time of year as well. This is Spokane, something similar, dealing with that trough and then warming up here as we go through the end of next week. Portland, something similar, perhaps reaching 80 degrees for the first time this year as we go towards next weekend. And taking a look at the total snow. So I want to show you guys this here. So we're going to be dealing with a little bit of snowfall for the next few days. That next trough, a little bit chilly here as we roll through the end of the weekend. And then early next week, we get that one last shot of snow. But then that's going to be it for a while. As we scroll up through the 10-11 day period, you can see this system coming up here early next week is going to be all she wrote as far as snow for the higher terrain, at least for a while. We'll continue to watch that as we go, but that's not a good signal because we are well below normal here across much of the higher terrain across the Pacific Northwest as far as snow water equivalent is concerned. Taking a look at the wave action here. So you can see that storm bringing a little bit of a bump in with some wave activity here to the west coast. The next trough kind of rolls in here. But then watch what happens as the ridge starts to build. We really get rid of these waves across much of the west coast of North America. So if you like a pretty smooth, relatively calm Pacific Ocean, next weekend might be the ticket for you there. Maybe good to book a trip and go out to the coast and watch the lack of waves if you want, and maybe some warm weather all the way out to the coastline as well. And if we look at the Palmer Drought Index, just a heads up, we still are dealing with some very dry conditions across Pacific Northwest. Just kind of want to drive home that point. There still is some severe drought according to the Palmer Drought Index there across the Cascades, from Idaho Panhandle and western Montana. And if we take a look at the actual drought monitor here, we still have some moderate drought across the Cascades as well, and kind of worse off across Idaho and Montana as well. And this is the short-term composite drought indicator here. It's an experimental product, but you can see we are pretty dry across the Cascades. You can see the last couple of years has been really favorable for the Southwest. Even portions of Idaho and eastern Oregon are doing better. And as you know, or you may or may not know, over the last couple of years, there's been some pretty extreme drought across the east slopes of the Cascades of Oregon. So glad to see that has been, at least knocked down a bit, actually more than a bit. But you can see we still are dealing with this across portions like BC and Alberta are exceptionally dry, and western Washington has been so as well. And this is the long term, and again, not a great signal there for some of the Cascades. Hopefully that doesn't lead to an active fire season coming up. Average temperature departure from average since April 1st, kind of a mixed bag here across Pacific Northwest, warmer across Montana. And here's the percent of average precipitation. We went through a pretty dry April here, and you can kind of see that reflected in much of these statistics over the last month or so. And this is since the beginning of the year. Oregon's been doing better than Washington, Idaho, or Montana, or British Columbia also. And this is since the water year. It starts on October 1st. And you can see that we are dealing with, that below average signal there is still, we've been below average all the way back to since last October there. So cross your fingers that this doesn't lead to another active fire season across British Columbia and Alberta, and that smoke doesn't make its way back down into the population centers here across Pacific Northwest. But anyway, yeah, nice storm looking there on the visible satellite imagery. Next storm system up here, and then we go towards the ridging as we go through next week here. So it'll be interesting to see what the models show for our temperatures here over the next few days and what's coming. The very warm temperatures potentially as we go towards next weekend. So, and anyway, all you mossbacks there across Pacific Northwest, enjoy these next few days because we're definitely going to warm up. Otherwise, yeah, we'll do this all again tomorrow. Hope you guys are having a good day, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.